There comes a moment in time when the world feels uncertain, when storms rage, systems shake, and everything familiar seems to bend under pressure. But it is precisely in those moments that something profound is being orchestrated. Right. It's as if God himself leans in and whispers, every human being is designed with an incredible capacity to rise, recover, and renew, a truth written not just in faith, but in our very biology. Right. Deep within you lies an architecture of resilience that has been carefully woven together since the moment you were formed. Right. Your body is not a random collection of parts, it's a divine system of intelligence, adaptation, and protection. Each heartbeat, each breath, right, each moment of healing is evidence that you were created not merely to exist, but to overcome. When challenges come, when loss shakes your foundation, right, or when the future feels uncertain, something remarkable happens inside you. Your inner defense systems awaken. This is not coincidence, it's divine design. Right? Within every person, there are mechanisms that constantly work to maintain balance and repair what is damaged. Right? The immune system identifies invaders and defends your health with precision. Stem cells quietly regenerate tissues, replacing what is worn out. Right. The network of blood vessels delivers oxygen and nutrients to every cell, ensuring that even in weakness there is renewal. These systems operate with a rhythm of restoration, a biological echo of the divine promise that says, you can begin again. When you fall, right, your body immediately begins to rebuild. When your heart is broken, your mind searches for meaning. When hope seems lost, faith stirs the soul toward light. This resilience is not just physical, it is emotional and spiritual. The human mind can endure heartbreak, failure, and loss, yet still find reasons to love, right? To believe and to try again. The spirit within you was not made to surrender to despair. It bends, it aches, but it does not break, right? Just as trees grow stronger roots during storms, adversity in your life deepens your inner strength. Every challenge is a form of training, right? Refining your faith and your focus. You were designed to rise, not in the absence of struggle, but through it. That is the secret of divine resilience. Growth that happens under pressure, healing that blooms in darkness. Think of the human heart. It beats without rest, right, day after day, adjusting to every emotion, every physical demand. When injured, it begins to repair itself. When stressed, it adapts, right? That's not just science. That's a miracle repeating itself inside you every second. The same intelligence that guides your heart guides your entire being. When you face pain or uncertainty, your mind and body are not working against you, they are working to restore you. Sometimes, right, the fatigue you feel is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of transformation. The systems within are redirecting energy to rebuild strength, right? Resilience is not the absence of hardship, but the art of recovery. The divine pattern is one of renewal. Just as seasons change, right, your body and soul move through cycles of breakdown and rebirth. Even nature reflects this truth. Forests regrow after fire, rivers carve new paths after floods, right, and flowers push through frozen ground to meet the sun. You are part of that same creation. The same force that renews the earth renews you. That is why, right, no matter what you've lost, healing remains possible. What's even more beautiful is that resilience grows stronger each time you use it. Pray, every wound that heals leaves you not weaker, but wiser. Every setback trains your spirit to stand taller. Inside you, there is a kind of cellular memory of triumph, a record of every battle you've survived. That memory becomes your foundation. When new storms come, your inner design already knows how to find balance again. That's how powerful you are and how intricately you've been made, right? When you understand that your resilience is divine by design, you stop seeing challenges as punishments, right? You begin to recognize them as invitations, opportunities for God to reveal what He placed within you. Your trials become classrooms where strength is taught, right? And your scars become symbols of transformation. Each struggle you endure is preparing you for a revelation, the moment when God shows the world what you're made of. Right, so when life feels heavy and you wonder if you can go on, remember that you are not running on empty. You are fueled by a power that renews itself from within. Right? Every breath you take is proof that your purpose is not finished. There is intelligence in your healing, purpose in your pain, and design in your resilience. Right? You are not broken, and in that becoming, the divine plan is unfolding. God is not done with you. Right. He is preparing to show the world what happens when faith meets the power of His design within you. Right. The greatest miracles in life are not the ones that appear suddenly from the sky or arrive as flashes of divine intervention. The most profound miracles are the ones that begin quietly deep within you. They are the unseen transformations that start when something inside shifts. A decision, right, a belief, a spark of hope. Many people wait for change to come from the outside, but real transformation begins when your inner world awakens. Right? The moment you choose to believe that healing is possible, your entire being begins to respond. The cells in your body, the rhythm of your heart, right? The focus of your mind, all of it starts to align with that belief. The miracle begins not in what you see, but in what you decide to hold true within yourself. Right? There is a sacred intelligence written into the human body that responds to faith, love, and purpose. When you nurture hope, right, your brain releases chemicals that promote healing. When you forgive, your body releases tension. When you choose gratitude, your immune system strengthens. Right? These are not coincidences, they are signals that faith and biology are partners in the same divine design. Right? The mind and the body are connected through invisible pathways that constantly communicate, translating your emotions into physical responses. When your spirit is at peace, your body thrives. When your soul is burdened, your body feels it. Right? That is why inner healing is often the beginning of outer transformation. The miracle begins when you realize that your choices, thoughts, right, and emotions are powerful messengers to your body. Every positive intention you hold, every prayer, every word of affirmation, right, every moment of faith becomes an instruction to your inner systems to begin repairing and renewing. Your cells listen to your inner dialogue, right? They respond to your vision of who you believe you are. If you see yourself as defeated, your energy falls. But when you start to see yourself as whole, strong, and capable, your body begins to reflect that image. This is the miracle of inner alignment. When your faith activates the biology of healing, right? When you look at how the body works, you can see that it was built for renewal. Old cells die so new ones can take their place. Wounds close and skin regenerates. The brain can form new connections even after injury. This is the pattern of life. Constant rebirth, constant restoration, right? It mirrors the truth that every end carries the seed of a new beginning. When you allow faith to flow through you, that pattern strengthens, right? You are not commanding a miracle, you are simply creating the conditions for the miracle already programmed into your design to unfold. Sometimes, right, the reason we don't see change is that we're waiting for something external to rescue us. But healing, growth, right, and restoration are not gifts handed from the outside. They are forces waiting to be unlocked within. The same way a seed contains the full potential of a tree, you already contain the full potential of your purpose, health, and strength. It only needs the right environment, belief, gratitude, right, and perseverance to break open and grow. That is why miracles begin quietly. They start with a whisper, a moment of clarity, a decision to rise again. And over time, right, what began in silence becomes visible for the world to see. Faith plays a vital role in this process because it bridges what is unseen with what is possible. Right? Your faith is not blind optimism. It is trust in the intelligence that created you. The knowledge that every cell, every thought, every breath has meaning. When you pray, meditate, or simply choose hope over fear, you are activating the inner forces that promote healing. Science calls it the placebo effect. Spirituality calls it faith, right? But whatever you name it, the result is the same. The mind directs the body toward wholeness. Think of the way a wound heals the moment your skin is cut, right? Your body sends signals to form a clot, reduce bleeding, and start rebuilding tissue. You don't consciously command this. It happens automatically. In the same way, right, when your heart or your mind is wounded, there are processes of emotional repair that begin when you open yourself to healing. Love, compassion, forgiveness, and belief. These are the emotional clotting factors that stop the bleeding of the spirit. They begin the invisible work of restoration. Right. The miracle within you is always active, waiting for permission to be seen. When you choose to believe, you are giving that miracle permission to unfold. Separate. When you focus on growth instead of fear, you send a message to your biology that says, it's time to live. Healing becomes not an event, right, but a journey, a daily practice of aligning your inner world with divine truth. So the next time you pray for a miracle, remember, it's already been placed within you. You are not waiting for the extraordinary. You are the extraordinary. Every heartbeat, every thought of love, every act of forgiveness is proof that the divine power to renew life flows through you. The outer world changes when the inner world believes. That is the moment the miracle begins, quietly, faithfully, powerfully within. Science and spirit have often been seen as opposites, standing on different sides of understanding, one rooted in evidence, the other in faith. But when you look deeper, you realize they are not in conflict at all, right? They are two languages describing the same truth. One speaks through data and discovery, the other through wisdom and divine design. Together, right, they reveal the wonder of how life works and how healing unfolds. The deeper science looks into the human body, right, the more it uncovers what faith has always known, that creation is not random, it is intentional, intelligent, and filled with purpose. When you study the body, you see precision beyond imagination. Billions of cells communicate every second, forming tissues, repairing damage, and defending against harm. Your heart beats in perfect rhythm, guided by electrical impulses that require no conscious thought. Your blood vessels grow new pathways when needed, right? And your brain rewires itself to adapt and learn. None of this happens by accident, right? It reflects an order so intricate that even the most advanced science can only begin to describe it. Every function, every response, right? Every healing process mirrors something sacred, the divine fingerprint written into biology itself, right? This connection between science and spirit becomes clear when you understand that the body is not just a machine, right? It is a living expression of life's divine intelligence. Each system, from your immune defense to your nervous network, operates with balance and purpose. Right? When you nourish your body with real food, rest, gratitude, and love, these systems thrive. When you neglect them, they falter. Science measures this through hormones, inflammation, and cellular health. Faith interprets it as alignment, living in harmony with the design intended for you. Both perspectives are true. They are simply different ways of witnessing the same miracle. In moments of illness, loss, or despair, it can feel as though your body and spirit are disconnected. Yet, they are never separate. When the mind embraces peace, the body follows. When you carry faith, your body responds to that belief at a molecular level. Studies show that prayer, meditation, and compassion can lower stress hormones, strengthen immunity, and even change the expression of genes. Science calls it psychoneuroimmunology, the study of how thoughts and emotions influence physical health. But faith has known this connection for centuries, right? It teaches that a calm heart brings life to the body, that gratitude attracts healing, and that love itself is medicine. The bridge between science and spirit is not found in debate. It is found in understanding. Science explains the how, while spirit explains the why. When they work together, right, they empower you to see yourself not just as flesh and bone, but as a masterpiece of divine engineering. Every time you choose to believe that healing is possible, right, you activate both systems, the measurable and the miraculous. Your thoughts change your chemistry. Your faith strengthens your biology. Your gratitude rewires your brain toward resilience. There is also a spiritual lesson in how nature heals. When a forest burns, it is not the end. The ashes become soil for new life. When the body is injured, it does not simply collapse, it begins to regenerate. These are not coincidences, but reflections of divine patterns built into creation. Science observes these cycles, spirit gives them meaning. Together, they show us that renewal is not just possible, it is inevitable when life is honored and nurtured. The greatest healing happens when we stop separating the physical from the spiritual. When we see food not just as calories, but as nourishment for the soul. When we view rest not as laziness, but as restoration. When we treat our bodies not as burdens, but as sacred vessels of divine work. The body listens to the soul, and the soul thrives when the body is cared for. This unity is the foundation of true wellness. It is also why miracles often appear natural once they unfold. What we call a miracle is simply the body's divine intelligence responding perfectly to faith, love, and care. Science can describe the process, the regeneration of cells, the balancing of hormones, the strengthening of the heart. But spirit reveals the source, the breath of life that sustains it all. When you look at healing through this lens, you begin to see that science and faith are not rivals. They are allies. One reveals the mechanisms, the other reveals the meaning. One studies the pattern, the other honors the purpose. Both point to the same truth. You were created with everything you need to restore, to grow, and to thrive. So when you pray for healing, know that your prayer is not separate from your biology, it's part of it. Your faith moves through your body the way light moves through glass. Illuminating every cell with the message that life continues. You are not just a collection of scientific processes. You are a living miracle, proof that science and spirit were always meant to walk hand in hand, revealing the divine beauty of being alive. Adversity is one of life's greatest teachers, even though it rarely feels like it when we are in the middle of it. When everything seems to fall apart, when the plans we built begin to crumble, and when hope feels like a distant memory, that is often the very moment when growth begins. Pressure does not come to destroy you, it comes to define you. Every difficult season, every challenge, every setback carries within it a hidden message, a call to rise into the version of yourself that can only be formed under strain. Just as the earth uses heat and pressure to create diamonds from coal, your spirit uses trials to create strength, purpose, and wisdom. In nature, nothing valuable forms without resistance. Seeds must break apart before they can sprout. Metal must endure fire before it becomes strong enough to hold shape. The same is true for the human spirit. The challenges that stretch you are not punishments. They are processes of refinement. You are being shaped, molded, and strengthened in ways you cannot always see. Sometimes it takes pressure to reveal what has been hidden inside you all along. Without that resistance, the depth of your courage, your creativity, and your faith would remain unknown. When life presses you, your first instinct may be to escape it, to wish it away. But if you look closely, pressure often carries purpose. It pushes you to discover resources within yourself that you didn't know existed. It forces you to let go of what no longer serves you. It teaches humility, patience, and endurance. It shows you that your limits are not the walls that define you, but doorways to new strength. Every obstacle you overcome adds a new layer of resilience to your foundation. What once seemed impossible becomes a memory of triumph. Think of how the human body responds to pressure. When you lift a weight, you create tiny tears in your muscles. And in the repair process, they grow back stronger. When your bones experience impact, they adapt by becoming denser. Even your mind strengthens through challenge. Every time you confront fear or solve a difficult problem, new neural pathways form, improving your capacity to think and endure. Your entire being is designed to grow stronger through stress. It's not failure that weakens you, it's the absence of challenge that prevents growth. Right? Pressure also refines purpose. In comfort, it's easy to drift without direction, but when you are pressed, clarity emerges. You begin to ask deeper questions. Why am I here? What am I meant to learn? What truly matters? These questions bring you closer to truth. Right. Stripping away the noise of distraction and revealing the essence of your calling. Adversity has a way of burning off what is temporary and revealing what is eternal. Right? It reminds you that your value does not come from ease, but from endurance, from the way you rise when life tests your faith. Every great story, right, whether of individuals or entire generations, is written in the ink of struggle. The heroes we admire did not emerge from comfort, they were forged in difficulty. Right. They discovered strength, not because they avoided pain, but because they walked through it with courage and faith. The same truth applies to you. Right. Every time you choose to rise again, to face what hurts instead of hiding from it, you are participating in that divine pattern of transformation. You are becoming the evidence that light can come from darkness, that beauty can rise from ashes, that new life can grow from the soil of loss. Right? Pressure also reveals authenticity. It shows who you really are beneath the surface. When everything external is stripped away, status, comfort, control, what remains is your true character, and that is what God often wants to reveal, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Right? The struggle you're in may be the training ground for the purpose ahead. The disappointment you feel may be shaping your compassion. Right? The challenge you face may be building the endurance you'll need to lead, love, or heal others one day. In the same way that nature never wastes a storm, right? God never wastes your suffering. Every trial carries a seed of transformation. The rain that floods you today will nourish your growth tomorrow. Right? The tears you cry water the soil of wisdom. The fire that burns today forges the courage that will sustain you in the future. Right? If you can see pressure not as an enemy, but as a sculptor, right, you begin to understand its purpose to bring forth the masterpiece that has been hidden within you all along. So when life presses hard and you feel like breaking, right, remember diamonds are not created in comfort. Strength is not born from ease. You were made to withstand the heat and come out shining brighter, right? Pressure does not define your end. It reveals your beginning. The story of your life is still unfolding. And every ounce of pressure is helping shape you into exactly who you were meant to become. Faith is one of the most powerful forces in existence. Not because it changes the world outside of you instantly, but because it transforms the world within you. When belief and action come together, right, something remarkable happens. The impossible begins to bend toward possibility. Faith is not just an emotion or a hopeful thought, right? It is a living energy that moves through your body, mind, and spirit, aligning every part of your being with the vision of what can be. Right? It's the invisible bridge between what you hope for and what you eventually see. True faith is not passive. It doesn't sit still waiting for rescue. Right? It moves forward even when the path isn't clear. It speaks healing before the wound closes. It declares light even while standing in the dark. Right? When you act in faith, when you take steps toward your goal, when you choose forgiveness, when you love despite fear, you ignite a transformation that begins inside and radiates outward. Your choices, guided by belief, send signals through your mind and body that say, I am moving toward life. That message is powerful enough to rewire your brain, strengthen your body, and restore your hope. There is science behind this sacred truth. Right? When you hold faith, genuine belief anchored in hope, your brain releases chemicals that create peace, optimism, and resilience. Right? These chemicals influence every system in your body, lowering stress, improving immunity, and enhancing recovery. That's not coincidence, it's design. Right? Faith activates physiological healing because belief and biology are deeply intertwined. When you trust that something good is possible, right? Your body begins to prepare for it. The systems within you start to align with your intention, just as a compass points toward true north. Right. This is why faith must be more than words. It must be a lived experience. When you wake up each day and choose to act in faith, even when you can't see the outcome, right, you are building strength. Every choice rooted in belief becomes a seed planted in your future. The moment you take that step, no matter how small, right, the universe and your own biology start working together to support you. It may not happen overnight, but transformation has already begun. Right. Faith is not about seeing the full staircase. It's about taking the first step, knowing that each one will appear when it's time. When challenges arise, right, faith becomes the anchor that keeps you steady. It reminds you that what you see is not the end of the story. Life's setbacks often look like detours, right? But through faith, they become redirections, guiding you towards something greater. Every person who has ever achieved anything meaningful has done so through faith. Separate the belief that something inside them was greater than the obstacle before them. They didn't wait for certainty. They moved forward with conviction. Right. Your faith does not eliminate fear or doubt. It simply refuses to let them have the final word. Faith also transforms how you interpret pain. When you live through difficult seasons, it's easy to see suffering as meaningless. But when viewed through the lens of faith, pain becomes purpose. Right. The struggle you endure refines your strength, teaches compassion, and deepens your trust. Every tear becomes a teacher, every disappointment a doorway to understanding. Right. Faith allows you to see that nothing is wasted, that even loss can serve your growth when you keep believing that good can come from it. Right. This alignment between belief and action also influences the people around you. When you live with faith, your courage becomes contagious, right? Others see in you a reflection of what's possible. Your calm in chaos, your perseverance in uncertainty, right? Your joy in hardship. These are living testimonies of what faith can do. They remind the world that hope is not it's necessary. Separate. Your faith doesn't deny reality. It expands it. It says, yes, this is hard, but it is not the end. Right. There is something greater unfolding. A faith is also a form of surrender, not giving up. Right. But letting go of control while trusting that the outcome is already known by something greater than yourself. Right. It's an agreement between your soul and the divine that says, I may not understand the path, right, but I trust the purpose. That trust brings peace even in uncertainty. It allows you to rest while still working, to hope while still waiting, and to love even when you're hurting. When you align your faith with your actions, your life begins to move differently. You start to make choices not out of fear, right, but out of confidence. You begin to see opportunities where others see obstacles. You notice blessings where others see burdens. Right? The alignment creates momentum, the invisible yet undeniable pull toward healing, growth, and transformation. Faith is not a wish, it's a way of living. It's the quiet conviction that what is unseen is just as real as what is visible. When you act in harmony with that conviction, separate, you awaken the miraculous potential built into your very design. The storms of life may come, but faith reminds you that you were built to endure them. And in time, right, the world will see what happens when belief meets action, when faith turns invisible hope into visible change.